Before Irma hit, Florida Governor Rick Scott urged more than 6 million Florida residents to evacuate their homes to get out of harm's way. Many left South Florida for points north, like Orlando. That's where NewsHour Weekend's Yvette Feliciano reports on the challenges facing some people seeking shelter.
College student Michelle Song and her church group came to this shelter today at a middle school in Seminole County, north of Orlando.
Most important thing is they provide us food, so we don't have to worry about we don't have things to eat later.
It can hold up to 160 evacuees, and when we visited, it still had room for people trickling in. Walt Griffin, the superintendent for the school system in this area, said his 9 schools are sheltering 1,100 evacuees.
I've checked out the food and the space at every single location, and it looks phenomenal.
Roy Davis is homeless and says he'd be weathering the storm on the street if he didn't have this option.
It's warm, it's air conditioned. There's also a television and restrooms which aren't locked at night, so it's really good.
Yet some migrants and recent immigrants in Central Florida's growing Latino community are avoiding city and county shelters.
The biggest thing has been language barrier.
Father Jose Rodriguez runs an Episcopal church in downtown Orlando. He's received calls from concerned parishioners who don't speak English and couldn't find information about where to go for shelter during mandatory evacuations. He helped set up this unofficial shelter inside of an Episcopal retreat and conference center in the town of Oviedo.
For a lot of people who are coming in from the outside, they don't necessarily know the landscape of Orlando. And so many people did what they normally do. They picked up their phone and they dialed up their local priest, and the priest said, "We have a place for you to come. We have refuge for you."
Rebecca Perez is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico and came here with her 3 children instead of the local government shelter in Kissimmee, where they live.
I never expected that the church would support me in this way. All of my family is in New York. This church is my family. They're more than family.
Perez was worried if a government shelter asked her to fill out forms, her personal information could end up in the hands of federal immigration agents.
The first thing they ask is, do you have a social security number? And obviously I don't have one. That's happened to me many times before.
50 miles west in Polk County, Daniel Barajas, who runs a grassroots immigrant rights organization, has turned his family's home into a makeshift shelter for the undocumented. Polk County ordered everyone living in mobile homes, as many immigrants do, to evacuate.
My family is staying here in solidarity. We know that these people will not be receiving assistance. And if there's any assistance available, they're going to be afraid to ask for it, because Department of Homeland Security sent out a press release stating that immigration agents will be present with FEMA.
Barajas posted this video on Facebook giving advice after the Polk County Sheriff tweeted that law enforcement officers would be checking IDs at the doors of all county shelters.
So what are you hearing from families who have been calling you?
Is it true? Will they be detained? Will they be pressured into asking? Some families have been so scared that they're trying to send their children to the shelters and staying behind in the mobile homes. It's heartbreaking.
For some Latino citizens, like 25-year-old Crisali Cuevas, who was evacuated from her apartment west of Orlando, language barriers and status issues aren't a concern. She and 9 relatives rented 2 rooms at the Econo Lodge in Kissimmee. Yet, as an employee in the food and beverage department at Disney World's Magic Kingdom, she lost income this weekend because the park is closed until further notice.
So how are you feeling right now?
Kind of devastated. It's going to be rough because I have to pay my health insurance, I have to pay my car insurance, I have to pay rent, food. I'm a student as well, full-time job, full-time student, gas money to travel, food to buy. It's going to be rough.
Yvette Feliciano joins me now from Orlando. Yvette, I'm sure that the folks you spoke with who are staying at this hotel are happy to be away from the storm's deadliness, but some of them who are living paycheck to paycheck, I'm assuming they're thinking about the costs associated.
That's exactly right, Hari. The financial impact of this hurricane is one of the biggest concerns for especially Crisali, who we were speaking to. She works at Disney World. And it's not just her that this is affecting. Her boyfriend works at Disney World. She lives with him and several of her family members, and they're all missing these days of work. And she was telling me that her uncle is actually going to cover everyone's hotel costs, which are, of course, inflated at this point, and they're going to take some time to be able to pay him back.
Let's talk a little bit about the ripple effects, especially if people have families. A lot of people in Florida have relatives that are in the Caribbean or further south that were affected by the storm.
That's right. That was the case for Chrysalie and her family. Her family's in Puerto Rico. Of course, Irma didn't directly hit them, but many people on the island are dealing with power outages or taking in hurricane victims from other islands, and also people in the Mexican immigrant communities here in Central Florida. Of course, Mexico was hit with that devastating earthquake earlier in the week. And of course, a lot of people in this area have family in Houston who dealt with Hurricane Harvey recently. So this, on top of the stress of being able to find the resources that they need, they're also concerned about families, some of which they haven't been able to speak to as of yet.
All right, Yvette Feliciano joining us from Orlando tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.